Well, I'm excited for this. Thanks for being here, Joe.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So Joe's a fellow finance refugee. And yeah, and we worked together. Like we kind of knew each other in the industry, and then he came on and went through my coaching program a couple years ago now when I was still coaching on Bob Proctor's methodology. And yeah, and he since has left finance and he's really passionate about meditation. Um, and you hear me talking about meditation all the time and how I feel like if it's the only thing that you develop out of this whole container, like it's the habit of meditation, which I know you guys already are pretty much doing. But I just think that there's so many benefits to it. So I'm excited to have Joe here and talk a little more about it.
Absolutely. And I don't want to be like overly formulaic, but just kind of add before we start, I'll kind of introduce myself and but just very curious as to Megan and Courtney's like if they have any experience with meditation and what it is, what type of practices they've used, and just by way of getting to know a little bit more about each of your circumstances and where you're coming from.
I'll start. So I've done a couple 6-week programs at University of Pennsylvania with
Oh, cool.
a guy named Michael Bain.
Okay. Is that the
Um,
MBSR? Is that what that was? Okay.
yeah, yep.
Nice.
Um, so I've gone in and out of my life of meditating on a routine basis,
Okay.
never consistently, but like learn from him, like body scan
Hmm.
and start it with, counting to 20, your breath. So he has
Sure.
a couple different methodologies, but it's just really just trying to like have your thoughts just kind of float away, but not push them away necessarily.
Gotcha. Nice. And you did that like multiple times?
I've done it twice. So I did it when I met my husband, we did it together when we were
Okay.
dating. And then during the pandemic, I picked it up again.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Very nice. Thanks, Courtney.
Yeah.
I still, after many years of trying, feel like a rookie. So we have a class at Google, Search Inside Yourself. Did a little bit through that class. Read Dan Harris's Meditation for Fidgety Skeptics.
Okay.
How to take 10 deep breaths when I walk my dog every morning, and worked my way up to 7 minutes in Headspace. So
Okay.
better
Nice. All right.
than
Sounds
nothing,
good.
but yeah.
I'm gonna do a guided meditation at the end. What's like a comfortable kind of time period for each of you? I mean, I think once you get into like the 15 plus minute range, I think maybe you kind of hit a different kind of maybe mind state, but I also want to keep it accessible for everyone. So um, just curious.
I have the hour blocked, so
Okay.
yeah,
However
whatever you
long.
think is, yeah.
Cool.
Sometimes it's good to like use this time too for like a little bit of a longer one than you would normally do because like we're here and sometimes like the energy of the group helps too. So yeah, whatever you want to do, Joe.
Cool. Okay. Sounds good. Well, I so I'll tell you a little bit about my background and kind of what brought me to meditation. Courtney, not probably not long after I left McAdams Group, I joined Aberdeen as a wholesaler, and probably about 3 months into my work at Aberdeen, I was going through I was getting ready for the Series 7, which was like my primary focus. I went to a routine doctor's appointment and he said you have something kind of strange on your throat. Get this thing checked out. I said, I'm studying for the Series 7, like priorities. So I went ahead, I took the Series 7, I passed. And I started, working as an internal at Aberdeen. And I decided to go and check on that thing that doctor told me about, and it ended up being thyroid cancer. So it was kind of my obviously my first brush with my own mortality. I was not yet 30 years old at that point, and I was really just looking for, some comfort and some peace of mind, in a very kind of scary time for me. So, and I just naturally kind of went to like my breath and just trying to be, come into the present moment because I felt my anxiety and my heart rate kind of spiking, and naturally came to my breath. And then I ended up finding some guided meditations online. I think YouTube was probably where I found them back then, and it just really resonated with me, and it felt like something that I could, take with me as a tool that I could use really every day. And when I was a small child, my aunt was an occupational therapist, and she used to do these like breath work exercises with me. And it took me back to that time when it was just like it was a respite from like the anxiety and kind of cacophony of everyday life. And so so that was 2011, I believe. And I've been meditating pretty regularly ever since then, with ebbs and flows, just like everybody else. And in 2019, I had the opportunity to do a 2-year program to teach Vipassana meditation, which is what they say is the original meditation that the Buddha taught. And Vipassana in Pali means seeing clearly. So it's essentially observing through meditation the different phenomena that take place, within your mind, what you view, what you're able to witness. And it's after a while, it takes you out of your mind and just into just essentially present awareness. So I've practiced a number of different practices in addition to Vipassana, but Vipassana is kind of the nuts and bolts of what I teach. And I think it's super beneficial. And I think, especially being in the financial services field, Megan, are you an advisor as well?
I'm in tech.
You're in
So
tech, okay.
yeah.
She works at
So,
Google.
okay, so probably similarly, stressful in its own right. But when I talk to professionals, a lot of folks want to know like, what can this do for me? Not necessarily on a spiritual level, but more on a practical level. How can this improve my focus and maybe mitigate my stress? And I always go back to this study that a neurosurgeon at MIT back in 2011 conducted. Her name was Sarah Lazar. She has a TED Talk if you've ever seen it. But she basically took anecdotal claims about meditation back then, and she basically conducted an 8-week study amongst a control group, and essentially found that participants had their stress decreased, less depression, anxiety, pain, insomnia, and essentially had an increased quality of life. And it was an 8-week um, practice, 30 minutes a day, and people's lives just were completely shifted by this practice. And if you're into like the regions of the brain, I'm kind of a weirdo, so I kind of like this stuff. But they found during that 8-week period that a regular meditation practice downregulated the posterior cingulate, which is the area of the mind that wanders. So essentially, increase your focus. It increased the function in the left hippocampus, which helps with learning, cognition, memory, and emotional regulation. So you're more responsive versus reactive. It increased function in the area of the brain called the TPJ, which is associated with perspective taking, empathy, and compassion. So basically making you an easier person to be around, essentially. The area of the brain called the pons, where a lot of neurotransmitters are produced, was improved as well. And perhaps most importantly, in the amygdala, which I'm sure everyone's heard of, the fight or flight center, got pretty significantly downgraded. And in MRIs, they actually saw a smaller, physically smaller amygdala in imaging, which is pretty crazy. And In addition, I think it was about 2 years ago, they did a study, and also another 8-week study, and they found that mindfulness meditation to be as effective as Lexapro in reducing anxiety and depression. So,
Wow.
yes, I mean,
Oh,
so pretty substantial, like repeatable studies that have been done, and so it's pretty amazing stuff. And I've seen it in my own life. When I used to be reactive, you see it when you're driving in the car when someone cuts you off. I can maybe laugh a little bit more about that than I used to versus getting angry. But I wanted to touch on the some of the basics of Vipassana meditation. Have you heard of the four foundations of mindfulness, Courtney and Megan?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay. Well, I'll touch that. There's four of these parts, and they're very interrelated. And they essentially come up with to constitute our experience, and extremely subtle. And but the four are the mindfulness of the body. Courtney, I know you mentioned doing body scans. Mindfulness of thoughts. They say that we have, upwards of 60,000 thoughts a day, many of which we're not even aware of. Mindfulness of feelings or emotions, which are constantly emanating through our consciousness, whether we're aware of them or not. And finally, mindfulness of the Dhamma, which in Pali is essentially, it's a very kind of complex, layered word, but it's the mindfulness of the phenomena of life, and the changeability and impermanence of all things. So all these things are, like I said, very interrelated. And in meditation, you can see kind of the subtleness between each of them and how they work together. And the one thing I will say is, we as humans tend to really grasp onto the good times and really tend to reject the bad times or the bad thoughts or emotions or feelings. And when you are able to really settle into your meditation and let go, that's when that peace really is able to come in. And Buddhist philosophy is there's it's so deep, and there's so much to it that I could probably talk about it for weeks. But one of the concepts I really enjoy is the Brahma Viharas, which are the divine abodes in Buddhism, and it's essentially what all human beings really should aspire to. And they are metta, which is loving kindness. And there are guided meditations and practices that kind of go into each of these areas. But the first is loving kindness, and they all kind of come back to metta, because it's one of those things that it really changes your brain when you practice it, and it allows you to see people that even through the lens of maybe somebody that you would not agree with, or maybe even dislike. You can actually start to see the love and the compassion towards them grow the more you practice it. And the way that you practice metta, there's different kind of mantras that you can use, but the one that I like is may you be safe, happy, healthy, and may you live with ease. And you basically, you direct it to yourself, then you direct it to somebody who's easy to direct it to, then you direct it to a neutral person, and then finally to a person that's difficult to offer that to. And even after that, you can kind of emanate it out to all beings. So, and in Buddhism, there's the near enemy as well, because each of these things are they can be very subtle, and it's easy just to say, "Oh, I have this figured out." The near enemy of loving kindness is attachment or possessional love. So saying that, I love you if you do this, or so instead of giving that unconditional love, you're attached to an outcome and getting what you want. So essentially, it comes from a little bit more of a selfish place. The interesting thing about Meta, I got the lesson on Meta the same week that my ex-wife and I decided to get divorced. So it was kind of maybe the universe telling me that, hey, maybe you could do a little bit of this practicing. Yeah, during that period of my life, which was interesting. So Meta is the first Brahmavihara. The second one is Karuna, or compassion. And compassion is empathy in action. Um, it's seeing people, knowing that we all need things. We all need love. We all need support, and being able to put that into action, and and do things for people. And that can come in the form of words, of actions, and we see people that need compassion every day, and the near enemy of compassion is pity. So, rather than seeing somebody in the street that's homeless and say, "Oh, that poor guy," you might be able to, offer them a kind word, or, give them a dollar or two, whatever it may be. What's your truth. The third one is mudita, which is sympathetic joy, appreciative joy. And that's being honestly joyful for other people's, good fortune. So instead of being jealous or kind of insincere, you honestly see somebody that's doing well for themselves, and you say, "Oh, you know what? Like, I'm really happy for them." And that can be very difficult in this kind of this life where we're constantly comparing ourselves to others, and how well they're doing. And the fourth is equanimity, which is balance. And now more than ever, when there's so much bad news and in the world, um, to be able to hold that, and also be able to go to your kids game and enjoy them, or be present with your family at the dinner table, or be able to not take on the pains of the world, and carry them to sleep with you at night. So being able to establish that equanimity and that balance, and just know that you only have control over what you have control over, and to do your best, and to to let the rest go. And the near enemy of that is indifference or apathy, which is easy to fall into when you feel like you don't have as much control as you might want. And you may have heard this quote, from Mark Twain. He says, "I'm an old man and I've known a great many troubles, but most of them have never happened." And that's one of my favorite quotes. And Mark Twain wasn't alone in that, in his habit of letting negative thoughts get the best of him. And biologically, our brains are kind of hardwired to kind of sniff out the worst. And it's often said that the average person has about 60,000 thoughts a day, 80% of which are negative, and 90% are the same unoriginal, stale thoughts as the day before. So we're nothing if not unoriginal in our thinking. But
I have this funny theory that, like, if we all were able to see each other's thoughts, like, at first the thought of that would be really embarrassing, right? If our thoughts were like broadcast, but then we'd realize that everyone's having the same exact thoughts, and it would be hilarious.
yeah, no, yeah, it's shared, if nothing else. It's
Mhm.
and it makes you feel like, I think, especially when you do this, and when you really get into your practice of meditation, you really start to understand like how neurotic and how absurd some of your thinking is. There was a really funny story at a week-long meditation retreat that I went to years ago. there was a younger monk, and he was sitting in on a meditation that an older monk was conducting, and he just hated guided meditations. He just liked silence. He like hated when he's like, I want to practice the way that I want to practice. I don't want any guidance. Like, and he said, yeah, they were doing the mantra, you may you be safe and happy and healthy. And he's like, I just want to punch him in the face to get him to stop, shut the heck up. And for a monk to, to say that and kind of divulge that type of kind of inner dialogue it gives the insight that we're all a little crazy. But um so I'm happy to kind of hop into a meditation now, or we can kind of discuss, maybe some challenges that we've had in the past. Or I know, Courtney, you mentioned that consistency has been, an issue. But just like any challenges that, like while you're in a meditation, or I'm just curious, like, what, because everybody's, every day is different, and, everyone's feeling, the world feels heavy now, so it's easy for your mind to spin, but just curious to, what challenges each of you or any of us have dealt with. I can go into my own.
I think for me, like I feel like I go to YouTube and then I start hearing the same meditation and then I get bored from it.
Mm.
So it's almost like, I don't know, how do you like have a consistent, do you listen to the same thing or do you change it up? Like where do you go for your meditations?
For me, for a long time, I was using Insight Timer, if you're familiar with that app.
Mm-mm.
It's a really good app. They have like thousands of guided meditations, and they also just have a timer with, kind of nice, like dozens of like kind of beautiful background ambient noises and stuff if you're into that. And there's so many different things. So if you're looking for like breath work exercises like Vipassana or pranayama, or like anything, like there's gratitude practices, there's practices for, for like letting go, for grief, for so many different things. So there you'll never get bored on that app. So that's one that I would recommend.
Megan, how about you? I'm curious why you think you feel like a beginner.
Because I just don't stick with it very long. So I think like I'm always doing something, and if I'm not, I fall asleep. So like I'm in my house and I'm folding laundry and talking to my dad, and like I just have this constant need to be in motion, and it's just hard to sit still sometimes. So I've tried like the walking meditation of doing the deep breaths, but it's really hard for me to sit still. But some of the better meditations I've done have been long, and I've like actually gotten into it. So
Nice. Yeah, I think you're in good company there. I think it's something that takes a little bit of, especially, growing. I mean, I think I was your typical like kid with ADHD growing up. Yeah, I had to always be moving. My son's the exact same way. I can't get him to sit and do a meditation. I meditate with him before bed to help him sleep, but he can't sit for more than 3 minutes. So not comparing you to, my 10-year-old son, but
I take it.
yeah, I was like that for a very long time as well. So I completely.
Yeah, I'll say too that I find too with especially with like type A, like high achievers, that what happens is like we're so programmed to be doing that anything less than that feels unsafe to your entire body. And so like when you do get that, you get like super antsy because it's your conditioning, right? It's that program running to try to get you to move. And then if you don't move, you fall into that sleep state because it
Yep.
feels unsafe. So there are some things that you can do, I feel like, to help um burn off some energy like before, like doing some movement before, whether it's like going for a walk and then trying to sit, or dancing or something, just like kind of moving your body and then going into it. I find that that can help sometimes. But then also just trying to do a walking meditation instead, and just kind of like meeting yourself where you're at with that. I think women too also have a little bit of a harder time kind of completely sitting still. And so I think that there's other things that you can do, like even washing the dishes or folding your laundry. Like, okay, can I actually do this for 10 minutes in silence, fully just paying attention to my breath and what I'm doing,
Mhm.
just trying to see what works.
That's helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. And I think we've talked about that before too.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think it was you where I got the just do 10 breaths while you walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. The more you, I don't know if Adrian, if you feel this way, but the more that you practice, the more that your meditation kind of bleeds into your life, and life tends to like show up almost like a meditation. You know, it's like, yeah, I was in the shower today, and I was like, you know, my mind tends to race in the shower, and I'm like, you know, like let's be intentional and like take in the smells and the sensations and try to be present with like just being in the shower, um, which I don't think is typical in our culture, to kind of just be doing what you're doing without thinking about the next thing that you need to do. So, but yeah.
And I think sometimes too, like it's not necessarily that we're falling asleep per se, but sometimes we are, but our brain waves are just slowing down. Like I know, like I do I try and do a 45-minute meditation every day, like in the afternoon, just silence, just watching my breath and kind of bringing my mind back. And I'll kind of fall into this like liminal space where like today I was like seeing some, I can't, it's almost like a dream. Like and I can't quite remember exactly what it was. It was something with like I saw like the earth. I don't even know. But I just trust that like it's helping on some level.
Yeah.
And then I'll do things too to I'll like try to sit in a different way so that maybe like I can kind of stay a little bit more present. But also I've had meditations too where like I can't even get into that zone, and then it's like 45 minutes of hell, right? Because it's like,
Mhm.
you're just there with your thoughts the entire time. And there's also a lot of benefit to that too. So yeah,
Yeah, I had a teacher that said like any meditation, regardless of how it shows up for you, is the perfect meditation for you at that
exactly.
time. Because it gives you
Exactly.
insight into like what's going on, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like so, and
Yeah.
it's really important to know that it's going to change, like regardless. It's, you know, it's, I mean, you could be super, super duper anxious, and 5 minutes later you could be completely at ease. So it's gonna shift.
Yeah, and Dr. Joe Dispenza says that there's no such thing as a bad meditation, right? That it is just a meditation practice. It's always just a practice. And I think too, like when you're in that space, like knowing like, oh, okay, like this is my body trying to like not feeling safe and staying still. So can I just witness that, right? And then if it wins, right? Where like you feel like, okay, I actually really have to come out of this. Like just having compassion for yourself, like not beating yourself up over it. Cause I think that that just like is like the other cycle of like, oh, I'm so bad at meditation. I can't do this, right? And then it just sends us into a different spiral. So anyway, that's the last I'll say about that.
Yeah. So when I start to fall asleep, I'm like, oh, that's your ego. I know what you're doing here. Like, come on, ego, get out. Yeah.
And the big thing that like I'm doing this self-realization fellowship now. It's the Yogananda thing, and whether it's like the Buddhist or the like Yogananda, like he says to be upright, just being upright, because when you lay down, you're gonna fall asleep. So just being upright and aware of your body, and you know, as kind of you know in your body and up as you can be. And you, I mean, you'll still maybe fall, you know, get tired, but the likelihood you're gonna fall asleep when you're in your chair and your cushion is a little lower. But um, cool. So we can hop into a little meditation if that works for everybody. And does everyone know about just the like kind of the anchors of meditation before we start? Like Megan and Courtney?
I think so.
Mm-mm.
No. So so like the anchors, like it's something that brings you back to the present moment. So for everybody it's going to be a little different, and I'll go through a little bit of the breath, which is a big one to, you know, come back to the present moment. The other one could be like sensations in your body. Um, so it could be a mantra. You know, it could be like I am, you know, just I am. And whatever comes up after I am, you're just know you're not that. You're just I am. So whatever works for you, because everyone is different. And even this type of meditation might not be what resonates with you, but I just encourage you to like just try different things, because there's going to be something that works, and it could be different for everybody. Um but just coming back to, and I'll throughout the meditation I'll remind you to come back to your you know, to what that is. But just think about, or as you're doing it, just say like, I'm comfortable coming back to the breath. Like the breath is easy. Some people get anxious when they focus on the breath, which is fine. Or, you know, sensations in your hands, your feet, or, you know, a place where your body meets something beyond itself, like the back of your chair or whatever it is. But because your mind's going to drift off, because that's what we do. We just think it's like the salivary gland in your mouth. It's like, yeah, you're gonna the thoughts are gonna come. So, and you're not failing even if you have a zillion thoughts. Is like all the coming when the coming back is like you're killing it every time you come back. So just remember that. But awesome. Well, if everybody's ready, we can hop into it. I have my little bell here. And, you know, before we start, maybe just consider an intention that you might want to get out of this. Um, could be something big, it could be something small, whatever it is. It's unique to you, and yeah. And just try not to have any attachment to the intention. Just kind of let it be. And I think that's it. So, and I'll ring the bell, and we'll just try to come into presence, and we'll go from there. And whether you want to lower your gaze, close your eyes, whatever's comfortable for you, just yeah. So and as I mentioned, you can either lower your gaze or close your eyes, and we'll become aware of the body. Notice anywhere your body touches anything beyond itself. You might note your clothing, your bottom or your back against the chair, your feet against the floor. Just be aware of your body. See if you can notice your body as a whole. The entire entity that is your body. See if you can notice the shape from your feet all the way to your head. Be aware of the array of sensations that you become aware of as you just consider the entirety of your body. And then focus on your feet. And scan from the tip of your toes to your arch and to your heel, the bottom of your foot, the top of your foot. Just be aware of any sensations or vibrations. Be aware of the temperature that you feel. Bring that awareness up into your ankles, into your calves, and up into your knees. See if you can feel the knee from the inside out. From the bones to the tendons, the ligaments outward into the skin. Any sensations that are there, just let them be there. And move your awareness into your thighs, in your hips, in your groin. Notice any sensations that you feel when you consider the center of your body. Bringing that awareness up into your abdominal area, around your lower back and your hips. As you breathe in, just notice your belly or your chest rise and fall. And then bring that awareness up into your chest, your heart center. Just notice the energy you feel. If you can feel the beat of your heart. And as we continue to keep our mind in our body, we'll scan upwards into our upper back and our shoulders, down into our arms, our biceps, our triceps, and our elbows and forearms. See if you can feel the weight of your arms placed where they are in stillness. Notice your hands. Notice any sensations that you feel as you consider your hands. The weight of your hands, the temperature, any sensations that you feel. And bringing that awareness up into your neck, the back of your neck, the front of your neck. The strong muscles that hold up your head. Just be aware of how your neck feels. If there's any tension, any tiredness. Just notice it and watch how it changes and shifts. Bring your awareness up into your jaw. Be aware of if you're clenching your jaw, if it's relaxed, Just allow it to sink just a little lower. Just invite it to relax. You can wear your lips, the upper part of your jaw, your cheeks, the nose, your eye sockets, your eyebrows. Become aware of your eyes just floating in space. Bring that awareness up into your forehead, your ears, your head as a whole. And move that awareness from your head to the entirety of your body. Notice any areas that might be tight or tense or achy. If there's any pain or discomfort, just allow your attention to go to that place and just invite yourself to relax and let that discomfort dissipate. Next, I invite you to just tap into your breath. Without the need to manipulate the breath at all. Just become aware of it as the watcher, aware of the breath breathing the body. Notice where you feel the breath most keenly. Could be a sensation at the tip of your nose, coolness at the back of your throat, the rise and fall of your belly or your chest. And just invite yourself back to this sensation anytime you find yourself drifting away into thoughts. And if you do experience thoughts, just know that's completely normal. Just keep inviting yourself back to either the breath or the sensations in the body with a curious, non judgmental awareness. Any background noise that you hear, Just let it come and let it go. Just take note of where your mind's at now. Notice any consistent thoughts that keep coming in. Allow yourself to recognize them for what they are. You could note them as a memory, planning. Could be a worry. Whatever it is, just know that it's a thought. You have the freedom not to attach any special meaning to that thought. Just keep coming back to here, to now, to this always available present moment. And in these last couple minutes or so, we could introduce the mantra of loving kindness. And just notice how the mantra feels in your heart and your mind as you offer yourself unconditional love. May I be safe. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I live with ease. May I be safe, happy, healthy. May I live with ease. Just notice how these words resonate in your mind, in your body, in your heart. Notice if they're easy to accept or if maybe there's a little resistance. And next, we'll offer that mantra to someone that we love deeply, someone who it's easy to give love to. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live with ease. Just imagine that person's face as if you're in front of them right now, just witnessing their smile. Notice if that feels a little easier to give that loving kindness to this other person. Next, bring to mind a person who's neutral to you. Somebody that you might know from afar, maybe you have some business dealings with, or maybe someone you see when you walk in your neighborhood, or someone at the grocery store, whatever comes to mind. No need to search too hard. Let's offer this person kindness and love that they too want. May you be safe. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you live with ease. Be aware of any sensations in your body that you feel as you offer loving kindness to this neutral person. And next, bring to mind someone in your life who has caused some troubles, who maybe you don't see eye to eye with, who might be a little harder to give love to. May you be safe, happy, healthy. May you live with ease. As you consider this more difficult person, notice any feelings, any pushback, any reservation that you have. See how that shows up in your body. See if there's any tightness. And if you do feel that, know that it's completely normal. And know that you're the one who needs that kindness in the moment. And direct that mantra back into your own heart. May I be safe and happy and healthy. May I live with ease. And lastly, imagine that you have this reservoir of love that emanates from your heart and your mind, and it emanates out of every part of your body, out of the top of your head, out of the bottoms of your feet, out of your hands, out of your heart center. And this loving, unconditional energy flows out in all directions to all beings everywhere. And may you be safe. May we be safe. May we be happy. May we be healthy. May we live with ease. And just notice how that feels. Whenever you're ready, bring your awareness back in your body and back to your breath. I want to open your eyes and just notice that you're seeing the outside world once again. And whenever you're ready, come back to the group.
Thank you, Joe. That was beautiful. You have such a calm, lovely voice.
Uh, Thank you. I hope that works for everybody. I try to mix a couple different modalities into one.
It's really great. I have to run to a meeting, but
Yeah.
I feel like I learned a ton and yeah, really appreciate everything.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Megan, thanks for your time.
Megan.
Good to see you.
Cool. And Joe actually has some meditations on Insight Timer. If you want to look those up, you can do his.
I
Awesome.
have a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
awesome. Well,
That would be
awesome. Thank you. Thanks for being here. So I love that. I love the meditating in groups is the best.
It
I love
really is. I also agree that meditating in groups is just something different about it. It brings like a different energy. I usually can go like super deep when I'm in a
Yeah,
group. So
same.
awesome. Well, thank you so much, Joe. Really appreciate you
Thank you.
so much. And I love that you guys made that connection, that you know each other. Courtney, thanks for being here during your
yeah.
day. And
Thank you guys.
yeah, have a great day, everyone.
You
Have a good
too.
one. Take care.
Bye.